How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another Discover Wellness with Dr. David. Today, we're going to be talking about a subject near and dear to my heart, and that is, if you're a man, ways that you can increase your testosterone levels. So why is that important? It's the hormone that largely regulates the ability that you have to maintain muscle mass. It will affect your body composition in terms of how much body fat you have. So it's something that's really important, and I'm sure you've heard people taking it exogenously to increase their athletic performance. So if we can increase it naturally, then why not?
Nice.
So let's just jump into it. So one of the first ways it's going to be really important is to get exercise. Why is exercise important? It's going to stimulate your muscles, and your muscles have androgen receptors, which will trigger follicle stimulating hormone, which is the parent compound of testosterone. And so it's just going to create a down cascade effects of testosterone being produced. And it's been clearly shown that individuals that exercise on a regular basis have much higher testosterone levels. Now, that comes in hand with another caveat, which is body fat. Body fat is directly correlated with lower testosterone levels. Having high body fat also shrinks your brain, so it's not something that you want. So if you would like to curtail some of your testosterone in your body being turned into estrogen, you're going to want to lose some body fat. So we talked about many ways to do that on this show, so certainly check back in on other episodes if you want to get some tips on weight loss. But weight loss is going to be something that's going to help you quite a bit in many ways other than just increasing your testosterone. Another way is making sure that you're eating plenty of food. Contrary to popular belief, plenty of food, what do I mean by that? If you're not eating enough macronutrients in any particular category, be it protein, fat, or carbohydrates, your body is going to essentially go into starvation mode, where it's going to start conserving as much as it possibly can, even if you're only deficient in one of those three areas. For instance, if you are on a keto diet for long term, and you cut out carbohydrates indefinitely, you're going to raise your sex hormone binding globulin, which is basically just going to take testosterone right out of your bloodstream because your body's like, hey, we're in starvation mode. We don't need this right now. And so a way to do that is just make sure you're taking in intermittent carbohydrates. Fat is important because cholesterol is the base of all of your hormones. And so if you're not taking in enough dietary fat or cholesterol, you're going to be in a bad spot hormonally. So certainly don't cut out all fat. If you're on a vegan diet, you're probably not consuming any cholesterol because there are little to no plant sources of cholesterol. So get your levels checked. You might be surprised. Protein, of course, is important because your body can't maintain muscle mass if you're not consuming protein. If you're not consuming enough protein to counteract any muscle degradation that just happens on a daily basis, you're going to lose muscle mass, and muscle mass goes hand in hand with testosterone. So make sure to get protein, make sure to get fat, make sure to get carbs, all within, of course, a safe calorie limit to where you're not going to be gaining excess weight. Another way is minimizing stress. Cortisol, your stress hormone, it's a bastard. No other word for it. You want to minimize stress as much as possible. We've talked about ways to do that, but just to rattle off a few, get good sleep, minimize outside life factors that are causing you stress chronically, be it a bad relationship or a bad job. Just find a way to get out of that. And then as well as eat and exercise. Certainly, if you're not eating enough, your body's going to go into that starvation mode we talked about. So this is why we talked about not cutting down on calories too hard. You don't want to go into starvation mode. That's going to cause you some issues unless you are in extreme need to lose a lot of weight. You don't want to call upon that mechanism of your body too often. Raising cortisol is going to make it hard to sleep. So make sure you're eating enough. I can't stress that enough. Don't malnourish yourself. Don't go deficient in micronutrients. So when you're debating on how hard of a diet to do, certainly do a measurement of how many micro and macronutrients you're taking in, because that can increase your cortisol levels. Another important thing is vitamin D. We've talked about sunlight and vitamin D on the show quite a bit. So I'm going to save you, but certainly for individuals that are deficient in vitamin D. They can have testosterone levels half of that of a man with healthy vitamin D levels. So be it a supplement or getting out in the sun, make sure you're getting it, because it can make you depressed. It can make you have low testosterone levels, and none of those things are things that you want. So certainly make sure to do that, and let us know how much being in a northern climate affects you. If you're somebody who's moved from up north to down south, if you noticed any difference, certainly love hearing those anecdotes. And then there are some vitamins that play a bit more of a tangential role in testosterone production. Zinc being the one that probably most folks know about in terms of testosterone. I'm sure you've heard zinc. It's also a very big button right now in terms of immune system. So make sure you're getting in enough zinc. And if you're not, then take a supplement. It's easy. It's very cheap. Other vitamins that are important, vitamins A, C, and E, they can play a role in the production. So certainly make sure you're getting a very well-balanced diet with lots of macronutrients, lots of high macronutrient and micronutrient foods like green vegetables, organ meats, fish, things like that. Sleep, we mentioned how important sleep is at reducing your cortisol levels, which it is. Something else that's also important is the actual production of testosterone. So a lot of it gets produced when you're sleeping. I'm sure if you're a man, every morning you wake up and are very aware of that. And if you're not, then you should definitely see a doctor about that. But if you're a man and you wake up every morning, you'll probably notice something. And the reason for that being is a lot of it's produced when you sleep. And if you're a man and you get 6 to 7 hours of sleep compared to a man who gets 5 to 6, the man who gets 5 to 6 will have testosterone levels of that somebody 10 years older than himself. So if you want to age yourself by 10 years, then just get 5 to 6 hours of sleep and you'll do it really quickly. So I don't mean to be very puritanical. I'm sure nobody wants to hear they're not sleeping enough, but it's going to make you feel better. And it's going to make you hit it harder in the gym as well. And then there are some honorable mentions of supplements you can take that seem to boost it a little bit. If you're doing all the things I previously mentioned, though, I guarantee you're going to be at a higher baseline than you were initially. But if you'd like to get a little bit of an extra edge, some honorable mentions include pomegranate. Pomegranate seems to have some compounds in it that have a pretty positive effect on testosterone. So they also have lots of other good effects on nitric oxide and blood flow. And you name it, pomegranates are pretty good for you. So get a pomegranate. And then something else that you should do is ashwagandha, something we mentioned, which lowers cortisol, and then luteinizing hormone as well. So it stimulates both of those at the same time. So healthy individuals usually see about a 15% increase when taking ashwagandha compared to those that don't. So it's actually pretty well studied in terms of testosterone boosters that are natural. And it's something that doesn't seem to have negative effects associated with it, at least in the studies they currently have. So certainly something I recommend, especially if stress is something that you're dealing with a lot. Something also to avoid is plastics. Something I'm sure you've heard maybe a little bit now. It's starting to become a little bit more mainstream. Plastics are not good. I'm sure you didn't need me to tell you that, but plastics, they are worldwide actually decreasing the size of men's taints, which the taint, or the distance from your balls to your ass, those are what will determine your testosterone levels both in humans and in animals. And both in humans and animals, the size of that is decreasing worldwide, and it's widely attributed to plastics in our environment. So ways you can avoid plastics, like bottled water, look at things that you heat up food in, make sure they don't have BPA in them. So certainly avoid plastic, especially when it's hot, when you can. Try not to drink hot beverages out of plastic cups or styrofoam when possible. I realize it's going to happen at some point, so just avoid it as much as you can. But those are some really great ways that you can take in your daily lives today to start boosting your testosterone levels. So take those strategies that we laid out here today, take it home, leave it down in the comments if you found any ways to do any of the things we just mentioned effectively, what your experience has been like. If you had issues either adrenally or just lifestyle wise and you fixed them and that had an effect in your life, certainly let us know down in the comments. We love hearing that stuff. Like and follow us on Spotify and YouTube. Share this with all your friends as well. We love your feedback. We appreciate being able to bring this content to you guys. I hope it's been helpful. Have an awesome rest of your day and stay healthy.